single day. I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hello everyone. Today I will cover your first chapter from Hornbill, The Portrait of a Lady, written by Khuswant Singh. The Portrait of a Lady is a story of the author. It describes his relationship with his grandmother over the years. He paints down her daily activities and how she evolved as a character as time passed by. He explains her appearance, which helps create an image in the reader's mind. First of all, I will discuss the story at a glance. The Portrait of a Lady is written in first person and is in the biographical mode. In this story, the writer gives a detailed account of his grandmother, with whom he had a long association. Khuswant Singh recalls his grandmother as a short, fat, and slightly bent. Her silver hair was scattered untidily on her wrinkled face. She hobbled around the house in white clothes with one hand resting on her waist and the other tailing the beads of her rosary. Khuswant Singh remembers her as not very pretty, but always beautiful. He compares her serene face to that of a winter landscape. During the long stay in the village, grandmother woke him up in the morning, plastered his wooden slate, prepared his breakfast, and escorted him to the school. While he studied alphabets, she read the scriptures in the temple attached to the school. On their way back home, she fed stale chapatis to stray dogs. The turning point in their relationship came when they went to live in the city. Now, the author went to a city school in a motor bus and studied English, law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, and many more things which she couldn't understand at all. Grandmother could no longer accompany him to school nor help him in his studies. She was upset that there was no teaching of God and scriptures at city school. Instead, he was given music lesson, which according to her was not meant for gentlefolk. But she said, when Khuswant Singh went to a university, she was given a separate room. The common link of their friendship was snapped. Grandmother rarely talked to anyone now. She spent most of her time sitting beside her spinning wheel, reciting prayers, and feeding the sparrows in the afternoon. When the author left for abroad, grandmother did not get disturbed. Rather, she saw him off at the railway station. Seeing her old age, the narrator thought that it was his last meeting with her. But contrary to his thinking, when he returned after a span of 5 years, grandmother was there to receive him. She celebrated the occasion by singing songs of the homecoming of warriors on an old, dilapidated drum along with the ladies of the neighborhood. Next morning, she got ill. Although the doctor said it was a mild fever and would go away soon, she could foresee that her end was near. She didn't want to waste time talking to anyone. She lay peacefully in bed praying and telling the beads till her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. To mourn her death, thousands of sparrows flew in and sat scattered around her body. There was no chirping, and when Khuswant Singh's mother threw breadcrumbs to the sparrows, They took no notice of the parade. They flew away quietly when the dead body of grandmother was carried away for last rites. Guys, now I'm going to explain the paragraphs of this lesson. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for the 20 years that I had known her. So hereby the author talks about his grandmother. He had known her for the past 20 years and she had always been old and wrinkled. People said that she had once been young and pretty and had even had a husband, but that was hard to believe. She was told that she was once young and pretty and had a husband. But according to the author, it was very hard to believe because the author had been seeing her grandmother for 20 years like that. My grandfather's portrait hung over the mantelpiece in the drawing room. He wore a big turban and loose fitting clothes. The author describes the description of his grandfather. He tells us that his grandfather's portrait hung on the wall, in which he wore loose fitted clothes. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest, and he looked at least 100 years old. So he also told that his white colored beard that reached his best part of his chest, hereby because his beard was too long and it covered the whole chest of his grandfather. He didn't look the sort of person who would have a wife or children. Now, the author also gives us a fact that his grandfather didn't look the sort of a person who would have a wife or children because he looked very old. He looked as if he could only have lots of children. In this line, the author tells us that he looked so much old that it seems that he had lots and lots of grandchildren. As for my grandmother, being young and pretty, the thought was almost revolting. She often told us of the games she used to play as a child. Revolting means unpleasant. Hereby, the author could never imagine that once his grandmother was young and pretty. So, this thought was unpleasant for him. He couldn't connect to this idea. He tells us that she used to tell him and his cousins about her childhood memories, like the games she used to play as a child. That seemed quite absurd and undignified on her part, and we treated it like the fables of the prophets she used to tell us. So they found these stories illogical and disrespectful because it was beyond their imagination to think that grandmother was once a child and played such games. They thought that her life's stories were like the other moral stories which she used to tell them. She had always been short and fat and slightly bent. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. Crisscross means a pattern of intersecting straight lines. So in this paragraph, the author has described about the physical appearance of his grandmother. He tells us that his grandmother was short, fat, slightly bent in posture, and her face had lots of wrinkles. No, we were certain she had always been as we had known her. Old, so terribly old that she couldn't have grown older and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. The author tells us here that she seemed so old and she had been the same for the past 20 years. According to the author, she was so old that she would not be older than she was. So she had stayed at the same age for 20 years. It is our next paragraph on the screen. Let us read. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. She hobbled about the house in a spotless white with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop and the other telling the beads of her rosary. Hobbled means walked in an awkward way. Spotless white means she wore clean white colored dresses. And stoop means bend one's body forward. And rosary means a string of beads for keeping count of number of chants made of a religious prayer. So according to the author, she was beautiful but not pretty. She walked around the house in an awkward way, wearing spotless white clothes, with beads of the rosary hanging from one hand and the other hand rested on her back for support. Silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale, puckered face, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. Yes, she was beautiful. Locks means hair, scattered means disorganized, untidily means not neat, puckered means a face contract into wrinkles, inaudible means unable to be heard. So hereby the author talks about her hair, which was silver color. He tells us that she had silver colored hair which was not neatly combed and was disorganized. She was constantly chanting prayers. And he tells that, yes, she was beautiful. But she was beautiful not in the manner of her physical appearance, but in the manner of that she was a religious person. She has a pure heart. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains, an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. So the author compares her to the winter landscape in the mountains, which has a peaceful and calm feel. She was a live example of a pure white peace emitting, and my grandmother and I were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. So the author lived with her in the village. They were good friends. His parents left him with her to settle in the city. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous sing-song while she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. I listened because I loved her voice, but never bothered to learn it. Monotonous means dull and boring. Bothered means to be concerned. So the author's grandmother used to wake him up every morning and get him ready for school. She would recite her morning prayers while she bathed and dressed him up, and he loved her voice, but would not try to memorize a word of what she spoke. Then she would fetch my wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk, a tiny earthen ink pot, and red paint. Tie them all in a bundle and hand it to me. Plastered means covered with a layer of plaster. All the means made of baked or fired clay. So in this line, the author tells us that she would make his things ready like a wooden slate, a tiny earthen ink pot, and a red pen. After a breakfast of a thick steel chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. So the author would eat a thick steel chapati with butter and sugar spread on it. They both used to walk to school, and his grandmother carried stale chapatis with her to feed the village dogs.
My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. So his grandmother would accompany him to the school as the temple was attached to the school, and she used to visit the temple daily. The priest taught us the alphabet and morning prayer, while the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus. My grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. Scriptures means the sacred writings of a religion. So what happens? On one side, she would sit on the veranda with other children, and she also would sing the alphabet and prayers in the chorus. On the other hand, she would sit in the temple to read the scriptures. And when we had both finished, we would walk back together. This time, the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. So, after finishing, they would walk back home together, and this was the time when the village dogs met them at the village door. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. Growling means making a low guttural sound in the throat. So what happened that they would follow them to their home, growling and fighting with each other for the stale chapatis that she fed them. And when his parents got settled in the city, they called him. That was the turning point of his friendship with his grandmother. We can see the next line here. That was the turning point in our friendship. So although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. There were no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. So they shared the same room, but she no longer would give him company to his school. He started going to an English medium school, and a motor bus would come to pick and drop him. There were no dogs in the streets. Whom she could feed as she did in the village. So she started feeding sparrows in the veranda of their house. Now we have just completed the first part of this lesson. So guys, please wait for the next part. And for the time being, I hope that you have enjoyed it. So thank you very much.